going to be a little swirl or an eddy. It's different on any ship. The bigger the ship, the bigger the swirl. You got to let it get out far enough behind that. On a ship like Mayflower, maybe it's 35, 40 feet. And when 40 feet of line have unraveled from this, there'll be a little piece of twine tied off there. So the two sailors that are holding this while it's unraveling, when that little piece of twine goes by, they would give out the shout of mark or time. And at that point, the 30-second sandglass, a half-a-minute timer, is rolled over. And however much line goes out, in half a minute, will give you your speed, because every 42 feet on this, there's knots tied in leather. And however many knots go out in half a minute is your speed at 2 knots, 3 knots, 4 knots. And the way it works is, the English are using a 5,000-foot mile in the time period. That's where knots come from. Because the English are using a 5,000-foot mile. The French had a mile, the Italians had a mile, they're all using different lengths. But the English mile is 5,000 foot. Well, 30 seconds, there's 60 minutes in an hour, so there's 120 half minutes. There's 142 feet is 120th of an English mile. So in 120th of an hour, how many 120ths of a mile go out? It's a direct thing. You don't have to do any calculate. It's sailor proof. Even a sailor can count 1 to 6, you know. And so however many knots go out in that time gives you your speed. The problem with it is, if you're in a current that's coming with you, well, this isn't really staying still. It's coming with you, and you're getting a false low reading. And if the current's going against you, it's going backwards faster than you're really going forward. You're measuring your speed through the water, not over the bottom. Over the bottom is your real speed. Now, the navigators in the day certainly know that. They make their adjustment for their idea of the current, but it means to measure your speed is not all that well done. And this is one of the key components to doing longitude, because the only way they're doing longitude is dead reckoning. They're keeping track every half hour of their compass heading and their speed. And at the end of a 4-hour watch, you got 8 sets of readings that say, well, for 2 hours we went northeast at 3 knots. We should be here. Then we turned southeast at such a speed and time. So your dead reckoning is not so good. Your longitude can be a little iffy in the time period, you know. And the way they resolve that is when you're crossing open waters like this, where you won't see landmarks for days or weeks on end. You didn't sail straight between 2 places. From London's up at 51 degrees latitude. We're at 42 here. We're 500 miles south. You don't come at an angle straight across to this place. What you do is you sail north or south to the line of latitude you want. Latitude they could nail. There's a tool in here and one in the captain's cabin called a cross staff. It's a precursor to a sextant. And you're measuring the angle over the horizon to the North Star or the sun. By that angle and a little bit of math, you could nail your latitude within a half a degree. Still accurate today if you get a good reading. And so what you did was you go north or south to the line of latitude you want. Then by your compass, you go straight east or straight west to the other side. And then when you get there, you go up or down that coast to where you want to end up. And you don't target exactly where you're going because of the margin of error is 30 miles, plus or minus. So if you targeted exactly where you were going, when you get to the other side, you wouldn't know it. You up above it or below it. So on purpose, you come in a full degree north or a full degree south. Then you know when you get to the other side, you got to go down or you got to go up. So a lot of people think the Pilgrims are off by 500 miles. They're way off away from Jamestown because everybody knows they were going to Virginia. What people don't realize is Virginia come up past New York City in 1620. They were targeting the Hudson River. They bought the rights or a patent for land, 30,000 acres of land at the mouth of Master Hudson, his river in the northern parts of Virginia. That would put them as part of the colony. Jamestown predates them by 13 years. But they'd be far enough away from Jamestown they wouldn't get into a hassle because the King's Church still held sway there. And although it's 240 miles from here to New York City, it's only 1 degree south. It's 60 miles south. And so they come across on 42 degrees. They see land on the 9th of November. They take a shot. It's 42. It's got to be Cape Cod. It's all well mapped and charted. Without even going ashore, they attempt to go around the Cape. And when they try to get outside the elbow of the Cape, today it's called Pollock's Rip. It's still out there. There's shoals and shallows out there. They've got a brutal storm in their face. They don't have enough reach back and forth to beat around the elbow of Cape Cod. And after a half a day of trying, they decide, you know, it's bad. The weather's bad. Everybody's in tough shape. We'll go back inside Cape Cod and we'll look for a place to settle up here. So they didn't intend to be this far north. But it wasn't in their navigation. They knew exactly where they were. They simply couldn't round Cape Cod in a timely fashion. Yeah, they're north of Virginia, but they're not 500 miles north. They're basically 60 miles off, which is basically the way the navigation was done of the day. They're right on target. They kind of